Does the world seem like it's going a little more crazy than usual? Would you like to live in a more compassionate, kinder world? Then this video is for you. The question is, how? We know by now that we can't control others, we can't change others. Well, you could try. I will save you trying because I've tried it and it does not work. It just pisses people off. So how do we live in a more compassionate world? Have you heard the expression, be the change you wish to see in the world? Mahatma Gandhi said that. Or you reap what you sow? You probably have. But what do they mean in a very practical sense? And how do you put that into your life? Well, in order to understand that, the first thing you need to understand is the projection trap. So Carl Jung put forth the idea of the shadow. And I bet by now you've probably heard of the shadow. But in case you haven't, quick summary. Basically, your shadow side or your shadow is things you do not want to own, do not want to see in yourself, so you push them down or repress them. And what happens when we repress our shadow is it gets reflected outside of ourselves. We actually have filters we don't even realize we have. And sure enough, that kind of person or that kind of attribute just shows up in our life. Maybe part of projection is that the world brings it to us as a gift in order to help us see what's in ourselves that we need to most work on. At least I know that's the universe I live in. And man, has it shown me some things I need to work on. I used to be surrounded by angry people. I was angry until I owned it and started working on that. Narcissists. We all have a little narcissist in ourselves when we get really honest. Some of us to a much worse degree, and that's a malignant narcissist, or even worse than that, psycho narcissist, or there's a better word for it, but I can't think of it right now. In any event, we all have egos, we're human. So guess what? We're all a little narcissistic. Have you taken a selfie? That's a narcissist thing to do. So we all have a little narcissism in us, right? And that's okay. I'm not saying don't take selfies. I'm not saying it's wrong to take selfies. I'm just saying, when you get really honest with the stuff that you see outside in the world, there's a little bit of that to some degree within you because you're human, because you have a human psyche, because you have an ego. And all egos like to control, like to be right, like to look good. So therefore they push away whatever doesn't look good or we would classify as negative. So that's the projection trap. As long as you push it down and don't own it, you're gonna be surrounded by it, okay? So then what do? Well, let me start with a story. So I used to work with this woman, perfectly nice woman, but for whatever reason, she rubbed me the wrong way. Now, to me, I have found there are two different kind of people that bug me. More than two different kinds, but let me explain what I mean. So there's the people that, it's obvious what bugs me about them. Like maybe it's know-it-all or controlling or a liar or, some attribute that you can easily identify, or maybe they're a braggart, whatever it is. And you can identify a particular attribute about them that bugs the crap out of you. We're going to come back to that. Or, as in this case with this woman at work, she just rubbed me the wrong way. And there was no particular attribute. She wasn't a braggart. She wasn't mean or narcissistic. She just bugged me and rubbed me the wrong way. And there was no one thing I could pin on it. And finally, I had been doing so much work on myself. Finally, I had to admit to myself that maybe it was something inside of me that I didn't want to see. So I started, sure enough, so I started contemplating, and I realized I was jealous. I was jealous of this woman. It all started back, the bugging part, it all started back when we were both working together on a certain project, and she was promoted and given more attention than I was in that project. She got greater responsibility and she was promoted over me. If you had asked me if I was a jealous person, I would have swore I was not. But that's what it was. And because of that lens that I put on, everything about her bugged me. And finally, when I admitted it to myself, and that's really all I had to do, was get honest, have the intention to find it, own it. I went to her and I apologized. I'm sorry I've been treating you. I was a little nasty to her. I was always cold and whatever. And I apologized to her and I said, I was jealous of you. And from then on, we became friends. She was lovely. I even gave her a ride to the airport one day and thoroughly enjoyed every minute of the trip. It was like 2 hours to the airport. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's projection, and that's what it can do if you don't catch it inside yourself. I mentioned, know-it-alls. I was a know-it-all for more years than I want to admit to. It came from being super insecure and actually feeling stupid, but it didn't matter. I was a know-it-all, and I kept being surrounded by know-it-alls. People that would tell you all they knew, and they knew more than you did, and they knew better than you did, and no, don't do it that way, do it this way. But it was me. It was something I didn't want to see in myself. And when I finally owned it, shocker, it stopped happening. I'll give you another concrete example of when you own the shadow within, what can happen in the reflection that can happen outside. I had done this really deep shadow work, and I was in such a good place. And at the time, I would commute on the subway in New York City, in Manhattan. I don't know if you've ever ridden the subway in Manhattan. Not the nicest place in the world, especially during rush hour, either in the morning or in the evening. A lot of shoving, a lot of ego stuff going on. Not the nicest place. But after I did this shadow work, people would give up their seat for me. Like, people that would never give up their seat. And people were like picking things up for me and wishing me a nice day. Like, it was the kindest, nicest place I had been, like any place out. Like, it was lovely. So it really can work when you apply these tools. Okay. So how do you do some shadow work? How do you own and stop the projection trap? Great question. The first way I've already kind of talked about is owning like what is going on inside of you that you might not want to look at, right? And you can do that a couple different ways. You could do inner child work. Often our traumatized child hurts others. You've probably heard the expression hurt people. Another way to say it is victim, victimizer, different sides of the same coin. When you become a victim, you victimize others. It's a natural thing because it's kind of like this innate quality in us that thinks, well, I've been hurt, so let me protect myself. But in protecting yourself, you're actually being nasty. Or let me hurt them before they hurt me, or let me push them away before they hurt me. Whatever the way it looks, it's victim, victimizer. So inner child work really helps with this. Journaling, walking in nature. And I've talked about contemplation before. Contemplation is very different than figuring it out. Figuring it out is when your brain wraps around itself and tries to figure it out, and you get all knotted up and your mind spins or twirls or whatever word you want to use. That's not contemplation. Contemplation is gentle, and it's a back and forth motion. It's this back and forth motion that shakes some things loose. somehow. I can't explain how it works, I just know it does. I think this all began with somatic energy work or somatic healing. I was taught through another way, but basically in contemplation is you think about something like, I wonder what it is in me that's causing me to be bugged by this person, and then do something else. Then gently go back, come back to the, I wonder what it is, and put your attention on something else, or describe something in your surroundings to get your attention off what you're contemplating. Put your attention deliberately on something else. This is why walks in nature can really work. So you gently think about it, don't think about it, think about something else, do something else, wash the dishes. Go back to wondering, go back to something else. Gentle back and forth motion. It will pop, it will come to you, especially if you have the intention. That's another important point in this. Have the intention to heal, to find and heal whatever it is. With that intention, you will go very far. And another thing that really has worked for me is prayer. If I can't find the answer to something, I ask to be helped. I ask the universe, the divine, God, whatever you want to call that pure beingness that loves us unconditionally. I pray and I ask to be shown, and it has never failed, especially again with the intention to heal and make the world a better place. So let's all be more compassionate, and soon we'll be surrounded by it. Until next time.